Elena's heart raced as she stared at the unopened envelope, her hands trembling. She thought she knew her sister inside and out. Their shared secrets and dreams had always been an unbreakable bond. But now, a chill ran down her spine. As her carefully constructed life began to crumble, Elena never suspected the true source of her unraveling world. The betrayal lurking in that envelope would shatter everything she believed about family, leaving her questioning every memory, every shared moment. The truth was about to change everything, and there was no going back. Elena's world seemed perfect. She had it all: a thriving career, a loving fiancé, and a bright future ahead. As she walked into her office that morning, she couldn't help but smile. The familiar scent of coffee and the gentle hum of computers greeted her. She was on top of the world, and nothing could bring her down. But beneath the surface, tiny cracks were beginning to form in her perfect life. A misplaced file here, a missed deadline there, nothing she couldn't handle, or so she thought. As the days went by, strange things began to happen more frequently. Elena noticed the whispers first. Her co-workers would suddenly stop talking when she entered the room, their eyes darting away guiltily. She tried to shake off the feeling of unease, but it clung to her like a shadow. One day, she overheard a conversation in the break room. "Did you hear about Elena's project?" a voice said in a hushed tone. "I heard it was a complete disaster." Elena's heart stopped. She had worked tirelessly on that project for months. How could it be a disaster? As she rushed back to her desk, her mind raced. She pulled up the project files, frantically searching for any mistakes. But everything looked perfect. She couldn't understand what was happening. The next week, Elena's boss called her into his office. Her palms were sweaty as she knocked on the door. "Come in!" his gruff voice called out. Elena took a deep breath and stepped inside. "Elena, we need to talk about your performance," her boss said, his face stern. Elena felt a pain in her chest. She had always been a top performer. What could possibly be wrong? As her boss listed off a series of mistakes and failures, Elena's world began to spin. None of it made sense. These weren't her mistakes. She tried to defend herself, but her words fell on deaf ears. "I'm sorry, Elena, but we're going to have to let you go," her boss said finally. The words hit her like a punch to the gut. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Elena stumbled out of the office, her vision blurred by tears. How could this be happening? She had given everything to this job. It was her dream, her passion. And now, in the blink of an eye, it was gone. As she packed up her desk, Elena's hands shook. She couldn't understand how everything had fallen apart so quickly. Her coworkers avoided her gaze as she walked out of the office for the last time, carrying a box of her belongings. The drive home was a blur. Elena's mind raced, trying to make sense of what had happened. She had been sabotaged, that much was clear. But by whom, and why? When she arrived home, Elena collapsed on the couch, her body racked with sobs. She felt lost, adrift in a sea of uncertainty. Her perfect life had crumbled around her, and she didn't know how to pick up the pieces. As the days passed, Elena's despair turned to anger. She was determined to find out who had sabotaged her career. She spent hours poring over old emails and project files, looking for any clue that might lead her to the truth. Elena's fiancé, Mark, tried to comfort her, but she pushed him away. She couldn't shake the feeling that he was hiding something from her. His reassurances felt hollow, and his touch no longer brought her comfort. One night, as Elena lay awake, staring at the ceiling, a terrible thought crossed her mind. What if the sabotage wasn't limited to her career? What if her entire life was built on lies? The next morning, Elena woke up with a new determination. She would uncover the truth, no matter the cost. She had no idea that this was just the beginning of her journey into a web of deceit that would shake her to her very core. As she set out to unravel the mystery, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that someone close to her was behind it all. But who could hate her enough to destroy everything she had worked so hard for? Her once tightly woven tapestry of a life was now coming apart at the seams, and she was determined to find out why. Elena's heart raced as she stared at the engagement ring on her finger. What once symbolized love and commitment now felt like a heavy burden. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Mark's behavior had changed lately. His phone buzzed at odd hours, and he'd quickly turn it face down. Elena caught whiffs of unfamiliar perfume on his clothes. Her stomach twisted into knots. Even her best friend Sarah seemed tense around her, avoiding certain topics and glancing away nervously. Elena's mind raced with possibilities. Could Mark be? No. She pushed the thought away, but the gnawing feeling in her gut wouldn't subside. She found herself analyzing every interaction, every unexplained absence. Had there been signs all along? That night, as Elena did laundry, she found a lipstick stain on Mark's collar. It was a shade she'd never wear. Her hands shook as she held the shirt, memories of their happy times together flashing through her mind. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. She confronted Mark the next evening. "Is there something you need to tell me?" Her voice trembled. Mark's face paled. He couldn't meet her gaze. "Elena, I'm so sorry." The words tumbled out, each one a dagger to her heart. An affair. Elena's world shattered. She felt like she was falling into an endless pit of darkness. The betrayal cut deep, leaving her gasping for air. As Mark packed his things, Elena sat on their bed, numb. She twisted the ring on her finger, remembering the day he proposed. It had felt like a fairy tale. Now it was a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. The door closed behind Mark, and Elena collapsed. Sobs racked her body as the full weight of what had happened crashed over her. Who could have done this to her? Who hated her enough to destroy her happiness? As the days passed, Elena struggled to trust anyone. Every interaction felt tainted by suspicion. She became more guarded, less open with her friends. The fear of being hurt again was overwhelming. She'd read that individuals who experienced infidelity often struggled with anxiety and fear of abandonment. Elena decided to seek therapy to help process her emotions. In her first session, she broke down, finally allowing herself to feel the full extent of her pain. "I feel so stupid," she sobbed. "How could I not have seen this coming?" Her therapist gently explained that the psychological impact of betrayal could be profound. It was normal to experience feelings of worthlessness and self-doubt. "This isn't your fault, Elena," the therapist reassured her. "Mark made his choices, and you're not responsible for his actions." As weeks turned into months, Elena slowly began to heal. She focused on rebuilding her self-esteem and learning to trust her instincts again. But one question still nagged at her. Who was the other woman? And why would someone close to her betray her in such a devastating way?
Why do 90% of mystery fans crave suspenseful twists? Let's find out. And that's it for today's story. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. If you love suspense, mystery, and intriguing stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. And hey, the journey doesn't end here. Click on the next video right here to dive into another thrilling story that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.